Imagine navigating your city streets and witnessing entire shopping centers transformed into mausoleums of glass and silence. By 2025, more than 15,000 retail establishments have shuttered across the United States, erasing upwards of $4.2 billion from local economies. Banks and grocery chains vanished. The once vibrant heartbeat of Main Street now reverberates only with the hollow echoes of "For lease" signs and mounting unpaid bills. Families are losing livelihoods. Small towns are forfeiting their identity. Even economic powerhouses like California and New York are crumbling under the weight of retail insolvency. This is no ordinary recession. It is a retail extinction, unfolding before our eyes in real time. Number 10. Arizona. Arizona's previously thriving retail ecosystem is desiccating faster than its parched desert lakes. In 2025 alone, over 350 major store closures have swept across the state, leaving ghostly strips of shopping districts from Phoenix to Tucson. Once bustling malls such as Metro Center and Superstition Springs now function at under 60% capacity, their vacancy rates having doubled since 2022. Big Lots, a cornerstone for middle-income families seeking affordable goods, announced the closure of 28 Arizona locations, citing a 21% year-over-year drop in home goods and seasonal merchandise sales. 7-Eleven terminated over 40 gas station stores as rising operational costs and fuel theft eroded profits, while Kirkland's Home exited the state entirely after revenue plunged below $600 per square foot, down from its 2018 benchmark of $920. Phoenix's retail sector, once buoyed by relentless population growth, is now buckling under inflationary pressure and mounting household debt. The average Arizona household carries $10,840 in credit card debt, a 14% rise from 2023, while wages have inched up by a mere 3%. Coupled with double-digit rent escalations and median home prices surpassing $445,000, consumer spending has stagnated. Foot traffic across state malls fell 19% year-over-year, according to Placer.ai data. Even Amazon Fresh's ambitious foray failed spectacularly, with its Chandler and Scottsdale stores closing in early 2025 as part of a nationwide downsizing that wiped out over $500 million. Local chains like Fry's Electronics and Bookmans are vanishing as well. Unable to contend with e-commerce juggernauts, their decline sends shockwaves across communities. Retail employment in Arizona has plummeted by 7.8%, costing over 18,000 jobs. 1 in every 8 retail spaces statewide now sits vacant. Property tax revenues and commercial zone contributions have fallen by $140 million since 2020. Arizona's sun-drenched growth narrative now masks a chilling reality. When middle-class wallets run dry, even the fastest-growing state cannot evade collapse. Behind every "For lease" sign in Phoenix lies a family that once frequented those stores, now struggling to afford life's essentials. Number 9. Washington. In 2025, the gray over Washington stretches beyond its skies to the very foundations of its retail economy, which has collapsed under the dual pressures of inflation and corporate retreat. Over 420 retail locations have closed statewide this year alone, turning once thriving neighborhoods in Seattle, Tacoma, and Spokane into corridors of silence and empty glass. Seattle, once the epitome of tech-fueled consumerism, now leads the state with retail vacancies exceeding 15%, up from just 6% in 2020. Even retail icons native to the state, such as Nordstrom Rack and Amazon Fresh, have drastically reduced their footprint. Amazon Fresh shuttered 6 stores in the Puget Sound region after incurring losses estimated at $700 million nationwide. Nordstrom, grappling with a 12% decline in in-store sales year-over-year, closed its Bellevue Square anchor store, erasing over 250 jobs. Independent small businesses fared far worse. Skyrocketing rents, averaging $42 per square foot in prime Seattle districts, and labor costs up 18% since 2021 have crippled local retailers. A 1,200 square foot shop now commands over $5,000 monthly in rent, while foot traffic has plummeted 22% compared to pre-pandemic levels. The shift to remote work drained downtown consumer flow. Once bustling with 300,000 daily office workers, downtown Seattle now sees fewer than 40% of that number. As purchasing power diminishes, so does tax revenue. King County alone has lost over $200 million in sales tax income since 2022. Meanwhile, the median Washington household now allocates 36% of its income to housing, leaving minimal discretionary spending. Combined grocery and utility costs surged 15% in 2025, nearly triple wage growth. Every closure sign represents a broader tragedy. A state where once cutting-edge retail innovation now collides with economic exhaustion. Washington, the birthplace of global retail giants, watches in ironic despair as its storefronts vanish faster than the drizzle can wash away the "for lease" stickers. Number 8. Michigan. Michigan's economy has long grappled with manufacturing decline, but 2025 has ushered in a new kind of devastation: retail shutdowns. More than 700 stores closed statewide this year alone, a 25% increase from 2023. Detroit, Flint, and Grand Rapids have become epicenters of collapse. Rite Aid's bankruptcy alone led to the closure of over 150 Michigan locations, eliminating more than 3,000 jobs. Joann Fabrics, a company deeply rooted in the Midwest, shuttered 36 stores statewide after recording $230 million in losses. Sears' hometown presence finally vanished, taking another 400 local jobs with it. Overall, Michigan lost over $1.1 billion in retail revenue this year. Detroit's suburban shopping centers now carry a vacancy rate above 17%, compared to the national average of 10%. Commercial rents fell 12% but remain prohibitive for struggling small businesses. The state's average household income of $64,000 lags behind rising costs. Groceries up 14%, electricity 9%, and auto insurance, the highest in the U.S., averaging $3,141 annually. Retail foot traffic downtown has declined 28% compared to pre-pandemic levels, and property tax revenue from commercial zones has dropped $90 million, forcing numerous municipal service cuts. Michigan's retail workforce, once numbering 480,000, now totals under 430,000, a 10% contraction in just 2 years. The irony is acute. Consumers seek affordable options, yet store closures reduce competition, driving prices higher. Retail deserts are expanding in Flint and Saginaw, forcing residents to travel over 20 miles for basic necessities. Michigan's once proud industrial belt has become a graveyard for retail. This story is not merely about shuttered stores, it chronicles shrinking communities, eroding paychecks, and a middle class witnessing its last affordable conveniences vanish. Number 7. Texas. Texas, celebrated for its booming population and oil-fueled prosperity, is not impervious to the retail apocalypse. By 2025, over 1,200 store closures have swept the Lone Star State, marking the highest total in the South. Urban centers such as Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio are witnessing unprecedented mall vacancies, averaging 14.7%, nearly double the rate recorded in 2019. 7-Eleven, headquartered in Irving, shocked the public by shuttering more than 250 convenience stores, citing declining profits amid soaring fuel prices surpassing $3.90 per gallon and a 19% spike in operational theft. Big Lots closed 38 locations, while PNC Bank exited Texas entirely, shutting 78 branches and eliminating over 1,000 jobs. Even prominent malls like Houston's Galleria and Dallas's North Park Center are quietly struggling. Despite a 12% year-over-year decline in rents, smaller tenants continue defaulting on leases. Texas retail sales dropped 5.3% in 2025, representing an economic loss of approximately $6.4 billion. Rising consumer debt underscores the crisis. The average Texas household now carries $11,900 in credit card debt, up from $9,800 in 2022. Median rents have surged past $1,630, while grocery expenses climbed 13%, draining discretionary spending. Retail employment fell 6.5%, erasing nearly 50,000 jobs statewide. Even discount chains cannot endure. Dollar Tree closed 57 stores, citing rent hikes and theft losses exceeding $15 million statewide. Once bustling strip malls in Fort Worth and Corpus Christi now sit half-empty, and municipal governments have lost $280 million in retail tax revenue. Texas, long touted as a land of growth, now proves that no state can outpace consumer exhaustion. When even a state of 30 million residents cannot sustain its stores, the message is unmistakable. America's retail engine is sputtering, and Texas has hit empty. Number 6. Florida. Florida's sunshine cannot mask its mounting economic storm. In 2025, over 900 retail closures were recorded, with malls from Orlando to Miami experiencing their most severe downturn in decades. Tourist magnets, once thriving on shopping sprees, now display darkened storefronts and liquidation banners. Industry giants have been hard hit. Walmart Express withdrew from 37 smaller markets, while Kroger's delivery hubs shuttered across the Tampa region, having lost $120 million over 2 years. Walgreens cut 68 stores statewide, citing theft-related losses exceeding $30 million. Florida's retail sector shed nearly 40,000 jobs, reflecting a 7.2% year-over-year employment decline. The economic pressures are stark. The average Floridian household earns $67,000 annually but contends with housing and utility costs that have surged 22% since 2022. Grocery prices alone rose 14% in 2025, while Miami rent averages $2,700 per month, leaving residents with minimal disposable income. Consumer spending statewide declined 8.6%, erasing $4.1 billion from retail revenue. Tourism could no longer offset losses. Visitor numbers fell 9% due to soaring airfare and rising hurricane insurance costs for coastal hotels. Shopping-dependent zones such as Orlando's International Drive and Miami's Dolphin Mall report foot traffic declines of 20 to 25%, while outlet malls operate at just 65% capacity. Local entrepreneurs are vanishing under the pressure of rising rents, averaging $48 per square foot, and insurance premiums that climbed 40% in 2025. Florida's commercial vacancy rate now stands at 13.2%, the highest since the 2008 crash. Beneath the palm trees lies a sobering truth. When locals cannot spend and tourists stop splurging, the Sunshine State becomes a stark display of America's retail decay. Number 5. New Jersey. Once hailed as the mall capital of America, New Jersey in 2025 feels more cursed than celebrated. The Garden State lost over 620 retail establishments this year, including titans like Walgreens, Macy's, and Stop & Amp Shop. Retail employment plummeted 8%, erasing 22,000 jobs. Northern New Jersey, encompassing Paramus, Newark, and Jersey City, has been hit hardest, with shopping plazas now half-empty. Macy's shuttered its iconic Paramus Park store after a 26% drop in sales, and Stop & Amp Shop closed 23 locations following $85 million in losses. Even TD Bank, a regional powerhouse, shuttered 17 branches in response to the shift toward digital banking. Rising operational costs compounded the crisis. Commercial rents average $52 per square foot, and energy bills for large retailers increased 19% since 2023. Theft-related losses across the state surpassed $170 million. Combined with consumer fatigue, many stores could not survive. The median household income stands at $97,000, yet affordability has eroded. Property taxes average $9,500 per year, the nation's highest, while grocery and gasoline costs rose 15%. Discretionary spending has dropped 10% year over year. Even East Rutherford's once iconic American Dream Mall now struggles, with $330 million in unpaid obligations and 74% occupancy. Local strip malls fare worse, with vacancy rates approaching 16%, double pre-pandemic levels. New Jersey's retail collapse is not merely about declining demand, it is a story of exhaustion. Consumers are stretched thin, landlords are desperate, and even the state's megamalls cannot fill the void. What was once a symbol of suburban prosperity has become a landscape dotted with flickering, closing sale signs, where the American dream has been quietly repossessed. Number 4. Massachusetts. Massachusetts, long celebrated for its academic institutions and culture of innovation, is now witnessing the disintegration of its retail foundation. In 2025, over 180 store closures have swept the state, eliminating more than 9,000 jobs and leaving deserted main streets stretching from Boston to Worcester. Joann Fabrics, with more than 30 locations statewide, has entirely exited Massachusetts, citing a 24% decline in sales coupled with an 18% rise in supply costs. TD Bank closed 20 branches, while Walgreens and CVS collectively shuttered 55 locations across the Boston metropolitan area. Overall, retail floor space occupancy has fallen to 82%, the lowest rate since 2009. Operating costs are punishing. Massachusetts ranks 4th nationally for electricity rates, averaging 28 cents per kilowatt-hour, while commercial rents in Greater Boston now exceed $55 per square foot. Property taxes rose 12% in 2025 alone, pushing numerous small businesses toward default. The median household income of $93,500 offers little relief when Boston's average rent for a one-bedroom apartment tops $3,100. With mounting housing costs and student loan obligations, discretionary consumer spending has fallen 9% year over year. Retail sales statewide declined by $2.8 billion in 2025. Even legacy retail corridors are faltering. Newberry Street and NICT Mall feel the strain, with NICT experiencing a 22% retail vacancy rate, and Newberry's boutique turnover doubling within a single year. Suburban plazas, once bustling with family-owned establishments, now display, for lease, banners where generations of mom and pop stores once thrived. Massachusetts' retail collapse is not a consequence of insufficient demand, it is a consequence of costs crushing both sides of the counter. Shoppers cannot afford to buy, and proprietors cannot afford to sell. For a state that prides itself on innovation and prosperity, the 2025 retail landscape resembles a post-recession replay. Only this time, innovation cannot rescue the businesses that once defined its main streets. Number 3. Illinois. Illinois is facing a retail meltdown that rivals its post-industrial decline. In 2025, more than 1,500 stores shuttered statewide, marking one of the Midwest's most severe retail losses. From Chicago's struggling Magnificent Mile to Peoria's half-empty malls, the state's retail economy is unraveling rapidly. Big Lots, long a discount staple, closed 42 Illinois stores, citing a 19% decline in sales and a 15% increase in lease renewal costs. Bed Bath & Beyond vanished entirely after liquidation, taking 1,200 retail jobs with it. PNC Bank followed suit, shuttering 60 branches statewide, particularly in lower-income communities. Chicago's Water Tower Place, once an emblem of urban retail vitality, now sits at 40% vacancy, while suburban malls in Joliet, Rockford, and Springfield hover between 25 to 30% empty. Statewide retail employment has fallen 9.1% since 2023, eliminating over 46,000 jobs. Illinois' financial pressures are stark. Commercial property taxes rank second highest in the nation at $10,500 per unit annually. Electricity and heating costs surged 18% in 2025, and wages rose by a mere 2%. The median household income of roughly $75,000 has been eroded by inflation, leaving families stretched thin. Groceries alone now cost the average Illinois household $8,400 annually, a 21% increase over just 2 years. Retail foot traffic across Chicago's downtown core has dropped 30% from pre-pandemic levels, leaving smaller stores with no lifeline. Illinois' once vibrant retail corridors now resemble urban ruins, blinking neon over empty windows, billboards advertising available space, and communities stripped of local commerce. For residents, the collapse is more than just about shuttered stores. It represents the disappearance of the last visible symbol of middle-class normalcy. Number 2. New York. New York, once the unrivaled retail capital of the world, is witnessing an exodus of unprecedented scale. In 2025 alone, over 1,500 stores closed statewide, nearly 400 within New York City itself. From the Bronx to Manhattan, once thriving streets now reverberate with silence and "for lease" signs. Retail giants are retreating. CVS shuttered 60 stores, Party City filed for bankruptcy and exited 22 New York locations, and TJ Maxx downsized by 18% in the metro area. Luxury brands are hemorrhaging as well. Saks Fifth Avenue abandoned its flagship downtown location after rent exceeded $1,200 per square foot, despite a 25% drop in sales. Manhattan's retail vacancy rate climbed to 17.8%, up from 10% in 2021, while Brooklyn's Fulton Mall operates at only 65% occupancy. Across the state, commercial real estate vacancies surged 40% since 2020. The economic pressures are unforgiving. The median household income is $80,300, yet average rent in New York City has reached a record $4,200 per month, with groceries costing 22% above the national average. Consumer confidence has plummeted to its lowest level in a decade, driving a 12.4% decline in discretionary spending. Retail jobs have disappeared at a staggering rate, over 53,000 positions lost in just 12 months. Fifth Avenue, once the globe's most expensive shopping corridor, lost nearly $1.1 billion in annual revenue compared to its 2019 peak. Small businesses struggled to survive. Insurance premiums rose 35%, and energy costs jumped 21%. Independent stores that once defined New York's neighborhoods are now closing at a rate of 3 per day. The Empire State's retail scene, historically a global benchmark, now serves as a cautionary tale. Empty storefronts in New York are more than economic scars. They are tangible evidence of a city pricing out its own heartbeat. Number 1. California. California, the world's 5th largest economy, has become ground zero for America's retail implosion. In 2025, over 2,300 store closures rattled the state, more than any other nationwide. From Los Angeles strip malls to San Francisco's Union Square, retail vitality has been hollowed out. Walgreens alone shuttered 178 stores, citing rampant theft and declining profitability. Macy's exited multiple Bay Area regions, eliminating 2,800 jobs. Rite Aid, formerly California's third-largest pharmacy chain, declared bankruptcy and closed 154 stores statewide. Even Walmart cut 22 locations, mostly in struggling suburban districts. The economic fallout is staggering. Retail employment declined 9.4% year-over-year, displacing over 110,000 workers. Los Angeles' retail vacancy now exceeds 15%, while San Francisco's Union Square sits at a shocking 27% empty, unthinkable just 5 years prior. The median household income of $91,500 is undermined by a brutal cost of living crisis. Average rent hits $3,200 per month, gas averages $5.40 per gallon, groceries are up 18%, utilities 11%, and state taxes remain among the nation's highest. Consumers have ceased spending. Major shopping centers are collapsing. Westfield San Francisco Center, once valued at $1.2 billion, was surrendered to lenders after occupancy dropped below 50%. Los Angeles' Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza faces foreclosure after retailers fled due to skyrocketing security and maintenance costs. Local governments are hemorrhaging billions. Over $800 million in annual retail tax revenue vanished between 2020 and 2025. Thousands of small businesses closed, and once thriving districts like Hollywood Boulevard now resemble post-recession ghost towns. California's collapse is not merely economic, it is the erosion of the middle class. The state that forged America's consumer culture is watching it crumble, store by store, under the unrelenting weight of inequality, inflation, and exhaustion.